Hello guys, and welcome to a new Wargame video today by me, Vulcan, and Val.
Hello guys.
Today I have another game from the 3v3 Reddit tournament, and today on the red side we have Creating Cognitive Dissonance with Random, Pattern, and Fadeaway, and on the blue side we have Zerna Buxner with Razman, Firestarter, and Dirty D. So, what are we looking at the start of this game, pal?
We're looking at a red v red on Jungle Law. So we saw the last game we did was a blue v red on Jungle Law. So this will be the first red v red we've seen this tournament on Jungle Law that we're casting, and it looks like we have a Sovco deck for Pattern, just a straight USSR deck for Random, I think. And it looks like another Sovco deck for Fadeaway on the red side. And over on the blue side, it looks like we have Browsman with... I think I only see Chinese units. I'm going to say that that's going to be a Red Dragon deck, but it could just be Chinese. Be surprising, but still. Dirty D. I think he hasn't put many units down, but definitely either USSR or USSR Korean. And Firestarter on the top side,
That's Red
Dragons deck. Yeah, Red Dragons. So very, relatively similar. Although there's definitely more Red Dragons on this right hand side on the blue side than there are on the red side. So yeah, so two Sovco and a USSR on the left, and two Red Dragons and the USSR on the right, I think. So yeah.
So let's have a look at the units we have coming in. On the red side, actually, we've got two T72 BUs, one from Pattern, one from Random. They're accompanied by two T72 B1s. We've got some BTR 90s there as well, very reliable APCs with some strong infantry. The BTR 152s there from Pattern, probably got some Yakudays. Then by Fadeaway, we've got T80s. So
we do.
Interesting choice of units on that side. What about the blue side? We've got ZTZ85-2 for tanks, ZTQ 80 or 62G. They're definitely not going to hold up against the T72s at the moment.
Not the BUs, that's for sure.
SU-122-54s as cannon support for Dirty D. Again, not strong enough to deal with that heavy armor. Bit of a trend here going on. It looks like the blue side's definitely focusing on more infantry at the start of this game and a lot less on their tanks.
That's true. I will say one of the weaknesses that people see in the Red Dragon deck, like Red Dragon is a very strong deck that people are playing at the moment, or at least a sort of the type of there's kind of like a Red Dragon tournament meta deck that you'll find people have very similar decks between them. But the problem with Red Dragons is that they don't have many. Well, they do have a T90S. Let's not forget that. So they do have one super heavy, but I think their tanks in general tend to be inferior to the Russian models. They don't have as much depth and breadth to them.
Yeah, that's definitely the case because they lack in like heavy tanks. Yes, they have the T90S, but they only have two of them, and then that's like the only heavy tanks they can get on the deck. So once you lose those, probably to MiG-27s or something, then you're in a bad spot really in comparison to the Russian armor. I'm just looking at command units on the red side. We have 5 command units coming in. This was actually pretty important in the last game we watched on this map, so I just thought it'd be worth having a good look at.
Definitely
looks like the red side's going to secure all the 2-point sectors very early on, so Charlie, Bravo, and Foxtrot for the red side. On the blue side, we're going to be seeing, I think it's probably 4 commands, or we got 3 in Kilo. Actually, no, it's 5 as well. I think they're going to be doing the same thing. Yeah. So securing 2-point sectors. Firestarter's probably going to be capturing Hotel. We've got Razman and Dirty D probably going to capture Juliet and Lima between them. And then We're going to see Pattern capturing Foxtrot, Random capturing Bravo, I assume, and then Fadeaway capturing Charlie, unless Random... No, actually, Random doesn't have a command, so he's probably just going to be focusing the majority of his points in securing Golf early on. As you can see, the attack markers put up by Random, it definitely looks like he wants to get a good foothold in Golf, and Pattern's going to be trying to secure that part in between Golf and Hotel, so that there aren't any flanks into Charlie or Foxtrot later into the sort of early game here.
One thing that I will say is quite interesting, and maybe he's going to move this up later, but Pattern's brought a T-72K1 command tank in for the, I'm going to assume, the Foxtrot sector, which is really interesting to me, because I'd say like Foxtrot is a very wide area, okay, and unless the blue side completely dominates in Mike and pushes all the way through in Golf, you are quite unlikely to actually get seen there. So, I mean, it's quite interesting he's brought such an expensive command in, but I mean, I guess we did see last time that, you know, they did the blue side did manage to go and kill that at the end. So...
I think they're just worried about recon spotting it, and then if it does, you know, a tank's going to survive a lot better than like an
infantry CV.
CV.
Yeah.
If it gets targeted, for instance, by like mortars, it's definitely going to survive a lot better. The MiG-25 on the top side, Firestarter, whoa,
going a bit far in there.
He's going a bit deep with that Mi-25, and that's definitely going to go down. We see a lot of his helicopters got to Echo very fast, and I can't help but think he's kind of regretting the fact he didn't invest more in helicopter infantry at the start there, because he definitely could have got a more decent foothold in Echo. But these wheeled units, the BTR-60Ps and the ZSLs, definitely going to still get there very quick in order to support the WZ-5L1s. The brilliant thing about those is that they are wheeled and they still come with a decent autocannon. So some really nice moves at the start here from Firestarter to get like a contesting position in Echo, which is something completely different to what we saw in the last game we saw on this map.
Definitely. I mean, Razman has been very quick actually, because remember we were talking last game about this bottom sector of Golf, the bottom sort of hill and forest area. You generally don't see the blue side really getting to this point, but they've pushed up some APCs and a recon tank, although it looks like they will get picked off, but they did get up there fast. It's going to be interesting to see who wins this bottom side, because like we said, I think this does favour the blue side at the bottom, because of the, you know, like if you can push and take this forest, it becomes very hard to retake. So
I think it's going to be difficult for Razman to hold control with the units he has. Like the Luzanduai are going to have a hard time killing these B1s, in my opinion, and the Liege 1 even more so with their napalm. And then you got the BTR-Ds, really good with those machine guns at taking out Liege 1. So it's a hard time there. The only reason blue side got there quicker was because they were using wheeled units. You can see the BTR-Ds and the tanks there, obviously much slower getting to Mike. In the middle, red side taking a strong stance there.
Those BTR-Ts are
to be expected.
Yeah,
really doing a good job of getting himself in there as quickly as possible. But Firestarter on the top side, with this contested sector Echo, he's already bringing in a command unit to start capping that, which is going to give them the lead in this game. Currently, they're leading by, what's that, 8 points? So
yeah. So a princely sum of points.
That's definitely going to continue to increase once that command unit gets into Echo, because it doesn't look like the red side's got one coming in anytime soon.
Yeah, I don't think they have a CV for the middle either coming in, do they? They're just trying to consolidate their position.
Yeah, it looks like Random's really trying his best at the moment to just get the best position he can in Golf so that the blue side can't counter-cap it.
Yeah.
Look at this bottom side though, the T-72B1's just ripping to shreds these Luzanduai. Like I was saying, the Luzanduai 90 just don't have like a good enough AT weapon. Yeah, 21 HE power is great and all, but when you're facing, what is that, what was 4 BTR-Ds and 2 T-72B1s, each having 15 front armor, those Luzanduais just aren't enough to take those out. And the Liege 1 just getting mown down. Look at that. Just like driving force of that bunch of APCs and tanks there, just pushing forwards, taking out squad after squad of infantry because they're just not consolidated enough.
Well, the big thing as well is that the Soviet tanks have a 4 HE damage, so they are very good against infantry. Not many tanks on the blue side have that. Just a few British tanks because they use the Hesh round as opposed to the Heat round. Interesting military trivia there.
Yeah, MiG-25 PD going down in the middle to an OSA AKM, so a nice hit there. But Patton making,
Charlie.
you know, he's making this ground in the bottom side of Mike, so that's going to make it hard for blue side to capture if he can get across that little bit of field between blue side and red side forest there. That's often what puts up a problem for the red side pushing across, because as you can see, the ZTZ there and the PTZ firing across the open against enemy tanks is going to be very easy for them. Although the T-72BU, wow, that took a lot of damage.
That might go. Oh no, it's just escaped.
Wow.
That PTZ-89 has a brilliant gun. Luckily, just about close enough, I think, to get a good chunk of damage down. Although that being said, the BU did put one of the ZTZ-85-3s down to half health.
Firestarter still holding on to Echo at the moment, and a contesting command unit nowhere to be seen just yet. And he is making ground around the top side of Echo, but as soon as he hits this town, it is still going to be very hard to push his way in there for now, until he gets a larger massive infantry in order to do that. He's also got to deal with these T-80s on the bottom side that are providing fire support against the Chongsu and the Li Ren.
Yeah, a 25k going down there, an SC-25k. One thing that I'm very interested about with Razman in particular is he's got these ZTZ-85-3s. He's definitely playing a Soviet Korean deck. Because he's brought in some Yuk Yonde. I assume that's how they're pronounced.
Yeah.
I'm wondering why he hasn't brought any T-90s in. Does he maybe not have any in his deck?
Possibly he just doesn't have the points to really support it just yet.
Maybe, but he does have 2 of those tanks. I mean, he might just prefer the 85-3s to the T-90Ss, so that can be personal preference.
I don't really like the 85-3s because they actually have a really low rate of fire compared to the other ZTZ lines. Like the Z85-2A and the ZT5-85-2 are both really good because they have a higher rate of fire, whereas the 85-3s are actually a bit lackluster. But they sort of fill the gap in like a Red Dragon deck in terms of that like sort of heavy, you know, like we were saying. They have the T-90S and then they have the ZTZ 85-3s, but they're just not that great. They're just sort of a substitute for that position in the deck.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I think they're one of those tanks that are extremely good against medium and regular heavy tanks. Because these are like almost like pseudo super heavies, because they have a lot of armor, a great main gun, a quite high points cost. But the problem with them is though that if they go up against a full health, like BU for example, I mean I know the BU is limping now with only 1 HP, but the 2 of them going up against each other, the BU will win every single time, by a mile. The ZTZ only has 19 front armor compared to the 22 of the BU. You know, the ZTZ will only ever do 1 damage at max range to the BU, and the BU will nearly half health it. So it's it's just not. It doesn't stand up too well. It's something like I describe another tank like that. It's the Leclerc. It's a tank that will absolutely demolish tanks lower down on the scale than it, but has a very hard time against tanks higher up on the scale. Because it has an amazing main gun, but it just doesn't have enough armor to sort of take these slugging matches with like a BU or an M1A2 or a Challenger 2 or a Leopard 205, that sort of tank. So definitely a place for it. Definitely a place for it.
Yeah, we should probably focus more on the action here.
And the action, that's true.
We've got the Buratino actually putting a nice strike onto the infantry in the compound on the bottom side of Gulf there. They've definitely managed to stop any sort of command unit coming into Gulf. In the top side, we actually saw Firestarter being a bit scared from some Spetsnaz GRU. Nearly got close enough to take out his command unit for a second. So if they remember where they are, then later in the game, Fadeway might have a chance at sort of sniping that command unit. Although Firestarter's definitely got more of a presence in Echo at the moment. If you look at the infantry side of things, only 2 Spetsnaz and the 2 like men from the Igla squad there actually sitting in that town at the moment. It would be very easy to get like a squad of Lijuan or maybe something a bit heavier in there. Maybe even just these Bachongsu. He can get those reinforcements up pretty quickly because obviously the BTR-60P is wheeled units. Over down in Mike, while you were talking, we also saw Patton get his T-72K1. It looks like the reason he has those is because it's probably the only command unit he has on his deck. That's probably just why he was using it to capture Foxtrot. So yeah, he's using that in Mike, obviously a much more sturdy command for such a contested sector on this kind of map. So that's going to give them control of Mike and stop the blue side getting a lead in this game, like an extended lead. Still 77 points to the other side's 15.
I think they need to bring a command into this.
It's still all to play for at the moment, but yeah, it seems that it seems that the commands could be used a lot more effectively on the red side. That like they could be contesting Echo right now, and they could be capturing Gulf, like a lot sooner than they have been already, and that would put them in a lead that would definitely affect the late game.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's worth getting those points early because then it doesn't put you in like under such pressure later in the game in order to make moves.
Have a look at the Charlie though. The blue side, and specifically Firestarter and Dirty D, have really made this in between Echo and Gulf their own, and they're able to thrust up into this sort of weak side of Charlie. I mean, luckily for Fadeaway, he had a T80 coming down to join. He has a horde of T80s just attacking in that top side.
Yeah.
Army of them. They're very nice tanks actually for what the price is.
They've been moving forwards and backwards, just sort of taking stuff out as they go, but they do definitely work well in unison because 4 of them, each with their 4 HE power, are definitely just going to like one-shot units of infantry when they come across them. So you can see that the Yuk Yondays in that town just going to get absolutely destroyed. Although Yuk Yonday squad sneaking up the side, sniping one of them, that's going to pay off that squad. But that's the trouble with this kind of strategy is if you use like a bunch of tanks like that, and then like these units of infantry just get like these lucky snipes onto the sides of units, then it's not worth it for you. See, another squad goes down there to the Yuk Yondays. And that's that squad paying itself off, what, like 5 times? So it's much more worth it for Firestarter in that case, and you can burn yourself out by doing strategies like that in the early game. Yes, it gives you a great foothold early on, but later in the game it can really cost you because you won't have the points in comparison to your opponent. So more infantry engagements in the top side.
We'll have to see how it goes.
At Echo, we got the Yuk Yondays trying to push up onto this town, but finally the reinforcements coming in. Also the T-72K1 from Patton moving up there into Echo as well. Be interesting to see where he actually puts that. Probably just going to hide it behind a building there. Yeah, it looks like that's what he's done.
This is a nice 2 points lead now for the red side. They have very good control of the central area.
They've finally done what we told them to.
Yeah. Bring the CVs in. Very good control of the central area, with just sort of a few thrusts from the blue side, but not really much to talk about. Only one tank really. I mean, the SU-122s probably don't really count, although they do have quite a lot of them. This red side, Patton has done a very good job of securing this big forest block here, although it will be extremely difficult to push across to the next forest block, that's for sure.
Well, look at this, Smirch being fired on the top side. Actually, I don't think that's going to hit anything. It's firing at where the T-80s used to be, which seems a bit pointless, considering he knows that he got rid of those.
Keeps moving them back and forward, yeah.
He brought in, what was it, the J7Hs, and they were dropping their 1,000 kilogram bombs there, and all the T-80s just spread out, and I'm pretty sure he saw that happen. Yeah. So yeah, it's interesting to see that Smirch actually fired in the same position. The Buratino from Random could very easily be used to attack the forest, or the city, sorry, on like the right side of Gulf. He's got the Buratino on the left side of Gulf, just waiting there, and that could definitely be used to put some pressure onto that town and possibly take out the command. Sapori 85 is actually taking on some Spetsnaz there and winning.
The two Rice, yeah, very effective.
Yeah, they're using the same napalm rockets as the Spetsnaz, so it puts them on equal level, but now they've got to deal with VDV, which are definitely going to outnumber them in that situation.
It's quite interesting to look at the comparison between this and the last game. That CV that Dirty D has is in exactly the same spot as Infi's CV last game. And remember when we highlighted the sort of almost a slightly weak position that Blue has in Gulf usually? Like this is another great example where there's only really the city that they can put their stuff in, because it can be very hard to secure this bottom tip. That will give you another place to put a CV, and equally to secure like the forest block in the middle of the hill.
Well, the other way you can do it is you can see those like two like there's little bits of cliff. You can hide infantry
you can hide
at the bottom of those as well, and it does make them pretty hard to spot. In the top side, Firestarter still has a much better position and a wonderful bomb coming in there. I'm not actually quite sure what I was trying to hit. I think that was a red side bomb, possibly hit some friendly fire. Because the bomb streak came in from the other direction, so that was a bit confusing. But he's managed to dislodge the T-72K1 from there, so they get control back in Echo. Obviously, the +2 lead for the red side was really nice because it brought them back up to like the reasonable same points. But they would be like ahead by about 100 points right now if they'd done that, say, 5 minutes sooner. And that's quite frustrated me about this game. But finally finally the Buratino coming in with exactly the same thing as the last game, destroying that command unit on the right side of Gulf, giving them full control of that, neutralizing Firestarter's efforts in Echo. But this is really nice now. I really, really like this play. So, Fadeaway is using a lot of tanks, and this is actually really bad. Like, really, really bad.
Definitely
in this situation.
In this sector, 100%.
65 points apiece on those T-80s. That's like 3 squads of infantry, and he's being beaten by Pachongsu right now because he's using tanks. And it's just not. This is, they're just not as effective. Look at these Pachongsu just rip to shreds these VDV-90 just because there's so many of them in comparison. If that was 3 squads of VDV-90, it could take on all those Pachongsu. But no, he's decided to go for T-80s instead, right? So now what's going to happen is as soon as those VDV-90 die, the Pachongsu take up positions on the edge of that cliff. Any tanks that try and come up there will get annihilated. Simple as
Basically, those tanks. Oh, they can even fire off the cliff now with the tank Shashu. But like, I mean, I do like that he's pushing this one T-80 up, just for a bit of a feel. But those T-80s, I think if you're going to deploy them anywhere, put them in Mike, put them in the middle. Even put them at the top of Gulf, but don't put them in Echo.
Yeah, I think what he should do is kind of like abandon Echo now. Like, it's going to be very hard for him to take that back. What you should probably do is get all those T-80s that are kind of a bit useless at the moment, and bring them down through Charlie, down to Gulf. Help secure Gulf. They should get full control of that town, which is only occupied by a few VDV, and then they can pretty much control the rest of the map from Gulf. Because they could push from Gulf up into Hotel, or they could push from Gulf, towards Lima or something like that. And that definitely would put pressure on the blue side to do something about that, right? So, yeah. Then Firestarter would stop putting so much pressure on Echo, or maybe he would continue to, but then it would just create a complete swing in the map. So the map would go, 90 degrees, and Firestarter would push through to Charlie, but at the same time the red team would push through to Lima. That sort of balance of force there.
That's true. I mean, the one thing to remember is that Charlie is definitely a very weak sector. It doesn't really have many options to defend. I mean, you do have that bridge that you can fire tanks from the Charlie side, but like it's. I mean, oh my god, those VDV are having a very bad time, and the Spetsnaz. But you do have to be careful. I mean, we did talk about moving the tanks down to Gulf, but I mean, I'd say what they should have done is just not bought them in the first place, then actually had a fighting chance in Echo. But like with those tanks, like you need to keep them there now almost, because if you remove the tanks, there's even less.
No, you can see what he's doing. You can see what he's doing. It's just put him back. This is exactly what he should do.
Oh yeah,
because it's a lot easier. It's a lot easier to defend from Charlie across the river than it is to sit at the bottom of that cliff and try and just stay there. So a good decision there. I think they're just going to rely on this points lead at Mike. At the bottom side, there was actually 2 Su-24Ms came in. One got shot down, but they both landed their bombing strikes onto a large amount of infantry. Almost took out the command unit, but it didn't get destroyed because the APC got killed while they were in it. So it didn't actually kill off the command unit, which was lucky for the blue side.
They did Buratino strike as well, and Patton's refueling his Buratino for another go, I think. But the bottom side for the red side is actually, they don't have much defense in depth, really. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes.
If you look at Gulf right now, you can see these Yakudays are really like suffering against the VDV-90s, and I wouldn't be surprised to see like Dirty D get a good control in the bottom side of Gulf, and he's got to be really careful about that. The Su-24M.
That's unless the M comes in and destroys them all.
Let's see what that actually kills off. Okay, it didn't finish off the Spetsnaz, which is quite lucky, although the VDV-90 flank there is definitely going to help take those out. So, not going to last much longer, unfortunately, Spetsnaz. C-72BU moving forwards is going to pick off a couple of WZ-551s. MI8, is that going to be able to stun that? No, it's not. But he is going to be forced to move it back because that is actually doing a little bit of damage when those rockets hit.
Oh, the sniper onto the interesting.
We've got the mortars now coming into play on the bottom side. Razman's turn to use mortars. Definitely hurting Patton's push through that forest. Patton, yeah, has got to be careful. Again, he's running low on the infantry because he's kind of overextended himself here. What he needs to do is get these low number units of squads back, the Spetsnaz Gru, the Sapri, and the Yondays. And then he can resupply them with the Urals that he has coming up, although it looks like he's using up that supply on that Tunguska.
And the Buratino is just about to go and fire.
Well, the Buratino was already reloaded, it just refueled it.
Oh, yeah.
Wasted some supply there.
I mean, I think Patton almost has to do this now, because I think he's realised, and the blue side it looks like, you know, with the... Although this is just a scouting Lisandre, but... I know he's pulling it back, okay, interesting, because... Like I said before, the red side, or Patton in particular, has no depth to his defence, if you know what I mean. Because after that BU, and after those few units of infantry, there's just support units. There's a Tunguska and a Buratino, and a lot of points worth of Ural trucks.
Yeah, I don't know, it's still going to be hard to push into that if he actually gets those Urals up and heals up his infantry squads. But he's not doing that. In the middle... I'm not sure if you saw it, but an Su-27PU actually shot down 2 J7Hs in one run.
2 Js.
So that was a nice hit there from the red side, which was cool. BTR-ATA is killing the Mi-8 MTV, and yeah, of course, the Buratino. Whoa, that is definitely going to prevent that push into the top side of Gulf. Those Spetsnaz not actually taking too much damage. Look at him just sitting there in the middle of all the flames.
Oh, this BU needs to be careful. He's playing with Moskaya Bahota fire, so yeah, he's going to fall like that.
Oh, nice combination of aircraft coming in there. MiG-25 PD, B-5 and Su-24. Did that hit anything too important? I don't think it did. It would have been nice to see that B5 actually land its bombs onto that push of Moskaya coming in. But he's retreated the BU now random, so that's not going to get taken out by the Moskaya. And the wonderful thing about that BU is it does have 9 round per minute rate of fire, so it's going to be using that cannon to rip to shreds those Moskaya Pahota squads, even though they have 15 men apiece. He's also got the Urals there now, which are going to help repair and resupply that should it run out of ammunition.
It looks like the red side will probably recapture this top forest of the plateau of the hill with the BU support and the Moskaya. A very admirable push, I'd say, from the blue team. Though they did make a lot of ground, but unfortunately with some good fire support, especially from what was it? I think an MI4 with the 80 rocket pods.
Yeah.
really slowed that down as well. Gave time for the reinforcements to come
I
in.
think, as you can see at the top side of the map now, things are completely quiet. Firestarter just leaving what he used there, and he's probably focusing elsewhere on the map now because he knows that he has to do so because the enemy is going to do that. They've left a few units here, the Type 63 Recon there on the top side to stop anything moving around the top. BTR-90, TACA just watching the bridge and so on, just in case anything does come along. They're just keeping their small presence in the top side now, keeping the Recon going there, and all of the focus now for the rest of the game is probably going to be on Golf and Mike. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. I really think that Razman has missed his opportunity to push into Patton.
Yeah, no, he definitely has now. The reinforcements.
Yeah, the reinforcements come in. The BTRD is dropping off some new VDV-90, so they're going to come in handy if Patton wants to push across to the right
B5
side.
Coming into that forest from fadeaway. That's going to land probably straight on the commander.
Yeah, he's using a combination of the SU-24 and the B5 there to allow that B5 to get a free strike onto that command unit, and that is going to go down. But at the same time, just as that happened, Firestarter snuck a command unit into Golf.
Oh, no points exchange at all. Exactly
No points exchange, yes, indeed. So still 100 points to 87. Red side currently ahead by the 13 points, sorry.
Yeah. So, I'm gonna... remember what I said before about the T-80s, Lewis, and how I thought he needed to pull his T-80s back, but not relocate them at this point. And the reason for that, I think you can see that right now, if Firestarter decided to go for any reasonable push in that top side, he would take Charlie.
But at the same time,
T-80s.
How is he going to do that? All his APCs are destroyed, so the infantry is going to be really slow. The only thing that he could actually move across the bridge is possibly the ZTQ, the ZTZ-88, and the WZ-501.
Oh, yeah, no, I mean, but if he would have to bring up fresh tanks. But by that, what I mean is that there have been no reinforcements to Charlie. They've all been going elsewhere.
But it's not sustainable for them to do that at all.
What, to push through to Charlie?
Reinforcing Echo with tanks is going to take like 2-3 minutes. And that's just not very good.
I can see that. I still think that would be a play that could be
I
made.
think the better move is killing the command in the bottom side of Golf, just like they did. Luckily, for the red side, Patton actually still has a T-72K1 in the top side of Golf, so that's not going to completely give it over to the blue side just yet. But yeah, see, Firestarter's using his Yukyonde 90s now in the bottom side of Golf instead of focusing his attack on the top side, you see. So I think honestly they made a good choice there in order to do that. Wow, another strike, SU-24M.
That was a very good bombing strike.
Bombed the command unit,
the thing. The reason I was saying that though is that was a play that could have been made, I think. I mean, you can argue for both that and bringing the reinforcement to both. They're both good plays at the end of the day, because you are putting pressure on the
You
map.
have to remember that in Conquest, I know I've made this mistake before by saying that you get more points for holding more sectors, but you don't. Because both sides get the same amount of points, overextending in the map makes a huge difference. So if he's going to be pushing to Charlie, that's like, what, 70% on the red side of the map, which makes it a lot easier for the red side to reinforce that and stop the push from happening.
Oh, you're not looking to capture Charlie, though. You only need to kill the CV. That's what I mean. Yeah, the very fast 2-point lead.
The only way you're going to do that is with helicopters at this point. I don't think you can do that with the tanks or a push.
You could bring in helicopters if you need to, then.
Anyway, back to the middle or bottom. Bottom side, we saw a nice bombing strike come in, absolutely wrecked. A ton of infantry that was pushing across the bottom side of Mike. Pretty much all the Yakuade got just killed off by a couple of B5 strikes. It was insane. In Golf, a lot of reinforcements coming in from both sides now. So you can see where all these points that would be used from the top side are now coming. They're all clashing in the middle, which is exactly what I think should happen at this point, because neither side's overextending. Although, Fadeaway having a cheeky look with some Spetsnaz onto those Bachongsu. Not going to last very long, though.
Not very long indeed. Lots of Salo's been brought in. I do like the Salo as like a light cavalry tanker support unit. Although not that effective when completely stunned up, but we'll have to see.
Oh, look at this.
See how that
Mi-24D managed to stun the Shilka. Oh, look at the 360! The Mi-24 pulling off a wonderful 360 against the Shilka, but unfortunately he got too close to the Chongsu and got shot down at the end. So style points there, but oh my god.
I have to say, one thing that did surprise me, I noticed this before, was it was almost like a bit of, I think, like a mind game, and Razman in the bottom side was using his artillery to mortar like a set of bushes down on the bottom side of Mike. Before he'd even tried mortaring the top quadrant where the CV usually is. So maybe he thought that Patton wouldn't put his CV in such an obvious place, and he'd move it somewhere else. But Patton was, no, I'll just put it in the obvious place. And then, is there some kind of hardcore overthinking going on?
Possibly, but the T-72, even if it got bombed,
No,
it's going to be fine.
It did get tagged once, but so, it's well armored. It'll be fine.
J7H is coming in with their 1,000-kilogram bombs. One of them going down very easily to the Tunguska. Is the second going to go down? Yes, it is.
No, but it did indeed. They missed everything though.
Yeah, the J7H has actually hit nothing, and they lost 2 of them. Su-24 going down there in response. Planes falling left, right, and centre at the moment. Oh my lord.
Oh, one going on down in the centre.
Yeah, well, Su-27PU went down before that, and a MiG-25 PD as well.
Wow.
So I think both sides reinforced on AA at the same time, and now just killing each other's aircraft very, very easily.
Look at how close these points are though. There's a 4-point difference at the moment.
Yeah, but even with Firestarter holding Echo right now, Patton,
No, this is definitely Red's game to win, I think, at the moment, or to lose, should I say?
they forced the CV out of Gulf, which is giving them the +1 lead now, and they're also making a very strong push into the town after all the Buratino strikes made all that infantry really, really weak. And I don't necessarily think that the blue side really noticed that happening. But now look at this top side. 2 J7Hs coming in for bombing strikes into Charlie. Let's see if those
That's
bombs...
going to land right on that town, I think.
Let's see if those bombs can actually hit their target. Fabio actually coming up behind them.
That's going to land on it.
Yeah, very, very nice snipe there. So that's going to give the +2 lead now to Firestarter, because it seems that they have countercapped Mike once again.
Oh, this is another point to make as well. Remember we were talking about the So someone in another team speak was trying to move me around, so we can't be having that. No, so remember we were talking about last game where the CV was in the centre, and you mentioned that there's a few more sort of innovative points you could put your CV behind the cliffs.
Yeah.
Exactly the same in Charlie, because that CV was in the exact same city block as the previous CV.
Oh right, yeah, indeed.
You have all this expanse, all these forests that you can put it in, and I've personally seen this a lot. People put their CV in that one small corner block more often than not. So that's always something to consider, always something to think about. That if you have a very lightly armored CV, like a 100-point CP or like an infantry CV, you do, I think, have to be a bit careful where you put it, because if it's in a very obvious place, then you can end up with a dead CV.
Wow!
From blind
Look at
artillery.
this. This is getting out of control very, very quickly.
They pushed all the way through in the middle. This is pretty brutal, honestly.
Spearhead going straight through the centre, and they managed to get control of that town, and have gone even further now. Getting that Tunguska on top of that hill there is very nice. Going to stop any aircraft, really, and all those Yukwide in the bottom side of Gulf managed to take out a UAZ that was trying to countercap as well. So a lot of command units lost from the blue side now, and there's actually 2 at the bottom side of Mike. They've got 1 spare there, just in case they need to continue to countercap that. But even though this push has gone through now, there isn't much they're going to get from it in terms of actual conquest points. Honestly, what's going to happen at this point is Razman and Firestar are going to continue to stop this push coming through from Gulf, and they're never going to get to Lima. Not unless they push further down. At the moment, they're pushing across this road up to another compound, which they don't need to do. and it sort of seems as though they're overextending at the moment.
Yeah, you could say that. I mean, I think the thing is, you always have to think about the pressure on the map when you look at a map. And right now, the red team has applied, a number of atmospheres of pressure into this middle sector. The blue side needs to reinforce, otherwise they'll crush through. Which means that now Patton has kind of an easier time on this bottom side because he knows that the chances of the enemy actually reinforcing this bottom sector at Mike is basically none, because you can't afford that. You can't afford to stop the reinforcement flow into the centre, because you will lose your 2-point sector in Lima.
But at the same time, Patton's continuing to throw his units in there as well. Like, Patton's pushing down the round the bottom side of Gulf. He's not reinforcing those Yakuades into the bottom side of Mike. Yes, okay, now he's moving forwards with Spetsnaz Gru and a T-72B1, but on their own, they're not really going to do much. Unless,
not with that.
The Buratino comes in and makes things a lot easier against those Yaquiondes. If both those Yaquiondes get taken out, then those Spetsnaz Gru pretty much have a free time there. Also, the Yuiban.
The CV is going to probably go down as well, I think, to the
Well,
napalm.
if you actually zoom in, you can see that they're in the middle of a...
Oh, they are in a small spot of non-napalm. The one section that didn't have napalm in. Let's see if this... okay, no, the B1 has just narrowly missed seeing that commando.
Okay, so now there's BMP3s actually coming towards Lima, like I said they probably should. The UAZ has moved from the back side of Lima. Looks like Patton spotted that and Dirty did notice as well. So he's moved it forwards into that little area of forest, but that's not going to last very long against any helicopters that decide to rush across that. And especially in this kind of scenario, sacrificing an Mi-28 to kill a CV in a 2-point sector is definitely worth it.
You say that, but remember what happened last game there, because it might happen again if the teams aren't careful. Although actually no, I don't think that'll be the case this time. I think the red side will win now.
The Fabio actually going down to the Tunguska M because it was too busy trying to snipe an Mi-28 and stop it taking out the UAZ.
Yeah,
not often you actually see that happen, because if the Tunguska has its cannon on, it's definitely going to die to the Fabio, but not today.
It seems to be every time they use the Fabio, they always die and they never kill anything. I think that's just my bad luck.
Mi-28 straight over the top of Lizandoi and goodbye.
That was a reach too far, I think, unfortunately.
They're trying so hard to take that out, but I don't think they have any bombers that really have the reach.
Oh, well, that BU just got side-shotted.
Where was that at?
By in Lima, a BU just got taken out by some Yaquionde 90. I mean, remember what happened last game? This could happen again.
What do you mean?
If that CV stays alive, even though the red side is completely pushed through the middle, broken through entirely,
that's very
there's still
true.
a point disadvantage, and there's 2 minutes left.
There is 2 minutes left on the clock. I completely forgot about time. Look at this, the Su-22 going in for a fire position gun strike. That's how desperate they're getting at the moment to kill this little UAZ just sitting
I think
in
that's
Lima.
Take it out, isn't it?
Oh, it's gone.
Oh, they have a spare though. They have a spare CV.
Yeah, there's a spare coming up, but the Mi-8 MTV is going to spot that out. And there isn't really much AA, although the machine guns will do the job.
This game is really coming down to the wire. I mean, I honestly can't call who'll win this. Although actually, no. I think I'm going to call it's going to be the red team, because they're bringing in a CV, a helicopter-borne CV.
Yes, very nice spot there.
I think will they get the points here? Because it does take a few seconds to land and then to get in position. This could still be a blue win.
It's so close right now. It really is, and there are draws in this. So to be fair, it could just be a draw at this point.
That's true. It could be.
I'm not quite sure if the blue side has enough points to make it a victory, and even at this point in the game, even like with a +1 lead, which is now soon going to be a +3 lead, that'll probably just equal out the points and make it even more so of a draw. So I'm not entirely sure.
That's true, unless this V can take out the command.
And then it'll be +5. Oh my lord!
I know that they're going to win this. They're going to get the points lead if they kill that. Oh no! Don't bring the V's away.
The MI24
What are you
Bs.
doing?
Why? Why are you doing this? Oh my god, this
Oh,
is way
no.
too close right now. Oh, look at this IL-102 as well. Bombing straight onto double CV. Oh, it's disaster.
This is going to be a draw.
I think they're going to have
Red is
exactly
gonna
the
have-
same amount of points, unless
Do you think? Yeah, they are.
Oh,
no!
no.
The 1 point lead for Red.
it's a plus 1 point lead for the blue side at the end of the game.
The red side, I think.
Oh, the red side. Sorry. Yeah. Oh my god. Mind blown. Like seriously, that was incredible. Again, though, you can see this map. Well, I don't know if it's just this map or the quality of the players, or like even just like teams not focusing on the right thing throughout the game. But you got the red side with the 12,000 kills to 11,000 losses. And then on the blue side, you've got less kills and more losses, yet they almost won the game. I don't know really what's going on with this map. I think maybe it's because of the conquest, like we were talking about earlier, overextending too much and pushing into the same amount of points from farther away is going to always be harder.
That's true. I mean, I think there is one thing you always have to remember is that when you are playing these games, you do actually lose track of time, and it's happened to me many times. I'm sure you have the same feeling where you're going through a game, you're doing this massive push, you're like, oh, we're going to win, and then you're like, oh no, look, the time's run out. You didn't quite keep track of your time.
Yeah, but also in this game in particular, I pointed out as they were pushing, like the red side's pushing through, they're creating this nice spearhead, which looked good. It looked like they were winning, but they weren't. That's the point. It wasn't like focused in the right area. It took them a while to realize that they wanted to go down to Lima rather than continuing to push down the reinforcement road, where blue was just putting up a massive fight.
Although I think the thing about that though is they only decided they want to go there when they found out that it was so lightly defended. Because I think Patton pushed through some units there and there was not really much. I think that's why they refocused. But I definitely agree with you. I think we've seen some really strange occurrences on this map where you've had teams that have done these great massive spearhead pushes. They've done really well, and yet last game the blue side lost, and then this game the red side. I mean, they drew. Technically won by 1 point, but
counts as a draw.
Yeah, it counts as a draw. That was a very close game though. But both these teams are like we said at the start, they're very good teams. The players on them are some of the best and highest ranked in the game.
Yeah,
and
you can just see their ranks: major generals, brigadier generals. These are like the top 10 players in the entire wargame community, pretty much. All in these teams. So it's pretty impressive when you actually like watch the matches. Obviously, they have a lot more insight into what they were thinking throughout the games, and hopefully if you look for comments on the video or maybe on Reddit or whatever, they will inform us of that. But just looking at it as a whole, there's always like natural mistakes that occur because nobody's perfect at the game.
Yeah, I mean, just to correct on that, the CCD has 3 players in the top 20. Razman 19, Fadeaway 16th, and Patton all the way up at number 5. Bushka, don't think are in the top 20 actually.
I'm pretty sure Razman's high enough to be in the top 20.
Oh yeah, no, he is. He's 19.
So they're maybe not top 10, but they are like, okay, let's just say like top 50 out of however many people play Wargame. There was however many sales, like 1 million, 2 million sales of Wargame now. So a lot of players, and they're the best of the best.
Let's just say that they're pretty good at Wargame.
And also probably the best, more teamed-oriented players rather than solo players.
Yeah, that's definitely a good point. Yeah, very, very good. I mean, you'd have to remember that the ranks on the leaderboard don't tell the entire story because you get very good players who don't play ranked.
Yeah.
And likewise, you get players who are very good at 1v1 and 2v2s, but aren't quite as good in a 3 or 4 man team environment.
Yeah, and also at the moment, like obviously the ranked scene isn't actually played that often, so the ranks don't move very much, and a lot of the people who are still high on the leaderboard might not even play anymore. But
yeah, that's true.
But anyway, any last words?
I think that was a very fun game to watch. I don't know whether it's Jungle Law or something. We had these crazy, near losses or losses even after a brilliant push, just due to timeout. So
yeah,
I thought that was a very exciting game. We saw lots of action. The middle was just constantly pushing back and forth. Patton doing Mortal Kombat down in the bottom in Mike as well with Razman, I think it was. Just again pushing back and forth and really, I thought quite a bit of good play, good individual play, especially that securing of Echo at the top. Like the infantry management was really good, and whenever Fadeaway tried to put any units into Echo, they just got annihilated by those Pachongsu. So there was you've got your very expensive Spetsnaz unit, thinking we're going to go into this town and kill all those rubbish 10-point infantry units and just get absolutely mown down. So yeah, very good game, I thought. Very good game.
Yeah, Firestarter, I think he did the best on his team, securing that enemy side sector so early on. That was an incredible move. But unfortunately, it left them vulnerable in the middle and bottom side, and ultimately that led to the draw that eventually happened. They were very good at holding on, but yeah, it's going to be disappointing for the blue side that they didn't secure the lead, considering their position on the map early on. But later in the game, it just seemed like the flood of red side units just managed to take over. But anyway, that's going to be it for now. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.
Thank you and goodbye.